Well, I've got a box of hardcover fiction, mainstream fiction, mystery fiction. I'm not exactly sure. I'm inviting you in to my living room here to go through these boxes with me and see what's in them because I really have no idea what's in them. I just took them out and piled them like this. So, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kristina. Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smancy stuff going on here. And I've got two small boxes that I'm going to combine into one big box for the donation bin. But shall we see what's here? Because I have no idea what's here. Meg Wolitzer, The Interestings. The summer that Nixon resigned, 6 teenagers at summer camp for the arts form what seems likely to be a lifelong friendship. Decades later, the bonds remains, but so much else has changed. In The Interestings, the New York Times bestselling author Meg Wolitzer follows her character from the height of youth through middle age as their talents, fortunes, and degrees of satisfaction diverge. Though adolescence, the artistic interests and abilities of these 6 friends have all been indulged, encouraged, and celebrated, but the kind of creativity that is rewarded at age 15 is not always enough to propel someone through life at age 30, not to mention age 50, and not everyone can sustain in adulthood what seems so special in adolescence. For the group of friends who met and joined together because of a shared sense of being interesting, this is a startling and sometimes painful realization. Slowly, one by one, they must consider adjusting their expectations. That interesting. The Last Ranch, a novel of American West Michael McGritty. The grand saga of the American ranching family continues in The Last Ranch, the final mesmerizing book of the New York Times bestselling Michael McGritty's gripping and richly authentic American West novel. When Matthew Kearney returns to his ranch in the beautiful San Andreas Mountains after serving in Sicily during World War II, he must not only fight to recover physically and emotionally from a devastating war injury, but he also must battle attempts by the U.S. Army to seize control of his land for expanding weapons testing. Not good. Forced off his public grazing lands, banned from gathering his cattle on high mountain pastures, and confronted by military police guarding a high-security array army post on the northern reaches of the ranch, Matt finds himself at the center of a heavy-handed government land grab. Oops. Oh, good Lord. There's so much here. The Map of True Places. Roninian Barry. Z. Finch has come a long way from a motherless childhood spent stealing boats, a talent that earned her the nickname Trouble. She's now a respected psychotherapist working with the world-famous Dr. Liz Mattei. She also is about to marry one of Boston's most eligible bachelors, but the suicide of Z's patient Lily Brandon throws Z into an emotional chaos and takes her back to places she thought she left behind. What starts as a brief visit home to Salem after Lily's funeral becomes the beginnings of a larger journey for Z. Her father, Finch, long ago diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, has been hiding how sick he really is. His longtime companion, Melville, has moved out, and it now falls to Z to help her father through this difficult time. And I don't know if you've seen me talk about it, but this is the good paper. Heaven is High, Kate Wilhelm. Attorney Barbara Holloway felt her father's high-powered, high-pressure law firm for a more low-key life. While she ponders her next move, she's working out of her house in Eugene, Oregon, taking on small legal problems for local residents. But while Barbara is trying to sort out her own future, two people desperate for help show up on their doorstep for former football player Martin Owens and his wife Binny. Binny, who is mute, met her husband when she snuck aboard his ship while it was docked in Haiti and smuggled her into the United States. Born 2 decades before to a woman from whom Belize, who was kidnapped and enslaved when her boat was attacked by pirates. Binny fled Haiti just after her mother died. Now immigration is seeking to deport her back to Haiti, back into the arms of the ruthless and powerful man who subjugated her and her mother, which would be nothing less than a death sentence. Binny's only hope to avoid deportation is to come up with solid proof of her and her mother's real identity. Sounds like something out of today's headlines. Hold on a second. Maybe this one we just read a couple of weeks ago. Split second, Sherlock and Savick, our FBI duo. A serial killer is on the loose, and it's up to FBI agents Dylan Savick and Lacey Sherlock to bring him down. Soon they discover the killer has blood ties to an infamous and now long dead monster. Savick and Sherlock are joined by Lucy Carlisle and Cooper McKnight as the chase is on. At the same time, Agent Lucy Carlisle learns from her dying father that her grandfather didn't simply walk away from his family 22 years ago. He was in fact murdered by his wife, Lucy's grandmother. Determined to uncover the truth, Lucy moves into her grandmother's Chevy Chaser mansion, where she discovers the skeleton in the attic trunk. I remember this. Go check my we're finishing it up. Actually, it should be finished by the time this video airs. It should be long done. But we did this back in April, May. So go check out those videos. Check out all my Catherine Coulter's videos. Sebastian Fox, Charlotte Gray. In blacked-out wartime London, Charlotte Gray develops a dangerous passion for battle-weary RAF pilot. When he fails to return from a daring flight into France, she's determined to find him. In the service of the resistance, she travels to the village of Lafayette, dyeing her hair and changing her name to conceal her identity. Here she will become face-to-face with the harrowing truth of what took place during Europe's darkest years, and will confront a terrifying secret that threatens to cast a shadow over the remaining of her days. Oops. Probably used her during one of my Christmas if-thens. We probably did it for Flashback Monday, too. Bella Andre, kissing under the mistletoe. For Mary Sullivan, Christmas is and always will be about family, and this year is no different. She awaits the arrival of her 8 children and their partners at the cottage at Lake Tahoe, and she hangs the ornaments they made for her over the years. Each decoration brings with it lots of memories, all of which she holds dear. I think I remember doing this for one of it. It was either Christmas or an if-then. It was one of the two. Well, actually, they're both if-thens. Or Flashback Monday. It might have been a Flashback Monday, too. So it was either if-then or Flashback Monday. Cold type. Harvey Aration. Let me put it this way, Shmoo said 10-15 years ago, how many papers did the Trib sell on an average weekday? 1 million something. In that neighborhood, yeah. And now, what, 700,000, give or take. So where do you think all those readers went? They died. They all moved to Florida. They started watching headline news. How come nobody, especially their kids, automatically replaced them? Isn't that the way it always worked? Maybe you think it's ridiculous to sit here now and predict that an electronic newspaper might be the future. But it is. It is. 2014. It is the future. Cauliflower. Nicole Barker. Barker. To the world he is Surrey, Godly avatar, Seem, spiritually master, beloved guru. To Rasim Rashid, he is the Branham, fated to defy tradition, but to Hariday, his nephew and longtime carekeeper, he is just uncle. Maddening, bewildering uncle, prone to entertaining trances at the most inconvenient times. Known to perform dangerous acts of self-effacement, who must be vigilant, safeguarding against jealous enemies, but also against the most treasured, insidious, sulfur-rich vegetables, the cauliflower. Okay? Not a clue. 2016. Oh, excuse me. Sinus drip today is bad. It rained. Pat Barker, no on day. London, the Blitz, autumn 1940, as the bombs fall on the blacked-out city, ambulance driver Eleanor Brooke, working alongside former friend Kit Neville, races from bomb sites to hospital trying to save the lives of the injured, while her husband Paul Tarrant works as air raid warden. Once fellow students at Slade School of Fine Art before World War I destroyed their hopes of generation, the three now find themselves caught in another war, this time at home. As the bombing intensifies, the constant risk of death makes them each reach out for quick consolation, and into their midst comes the spirit medium Betha Mason, a grotesque and unforgettable whose ability to make contact with the deceased finds vastly increased demands as death rains upon the skies. Old loves and obsessions resurface until Eleanor is brought face to face with an almost impossible choice. Smoke! Smoke! Come here! What's the matter? 2015. Come here. Ah. Sorry. So, don't rip my shirt. Don't rip my shirt. It's a new shirt. What's the matter? What's the matter? What? What? Man, I got a hole. Thanks, Smoke. I got a hole in my shirt now. Thank you. Vivian Armstrong, rewind. Having been transferred to Yarmouth after the breakup of his marriage, Ian Preston is wondering if the secluded country life he's chosen might be a little too much. Too quiet. But his mind is swiftly changed by the discovery of Adele Morrison's drowned body in the swimming pool of the Crown House Hotel. A frantic search for Adele's next of kin leads to an abundance of connections. There's her estranged husband, a Cambridge professor who tends to inherit everything he had been fighting to claim as part of his divorce settlement. And Sylvie, Adele's beautiful half-sister, flies all the way from Canada to do some detective work of her own. 2001. Ted DEKKER, green. There's no... Oh, it's on the back. The, As foretold by ancient prophets, an apocalypse destroyed Earth during the 21st century, but 2,000 years later, Elon set upon an Earth a new Adam. This time, however, he gave humanity an advantage. What was once unseen became seen. It was good, and it was called green. But the evil Tealith bided his time in the Black Forest. Then, when at least expected, a 24-year-old named Thomas Hunter fell asleep in our world and woke up in that future Black Forest. A gateway was opened for Tealith to ravage the land. Devastated by ruin, Thomas Hunter and his circle swore to fight the Dark Scrooge until their dying breath. Green. a lady that we've done her entire Black Dagger Brotherhood. And there's 2 of these in here. Why? These are popular as all bug out. Ah. Don't know. Check out my Black Dagger Brotherhood. We haven't done the Bourbon Street, though. We haven't done the Bourbon Kings yet. The Black Dagger Brotherhood continues to train the best of the best to join them in the deadly battle against the lessening society. Axe proves to be a cunning and vicious fighter who is also alone or isolated because of his personal tragedy. When an aristocratic female needs a bodyguard, Axe takes the job, though he's unprepared for the animal attraction that flares between them. Go check out my video. Devil's Cut. After the death of William Baldwin, the head of the Bradford family was ruled a suicide, but his eldest son and sworn enemy Edward came forward and confessed to what was in fact a murder. Now in police custody, Edward mourns not the integration of his family or the loss of his freedom, but the woman he left behind. And this one too is starting to separate a little, just a little though. I don't know why they... sometimes I have no idea why they got rid of some of these books. I mean, they're still really popular. People still take them out. People still borrow them. So I don't know why they decided to discard these. And that hole's gonna drive me bonkers. Marcia Muller, The Dangerous Hour. Hard-edged, intelligent crime fiction featuring Private Eye Shannon McCone. Complacency makes a person careless, and SHARYN McCone, who makes her crime her business, should know better than most. 1 minute she's riding high with her detective agency, expanding her bank account, growing, and her only problem, a marriage proposal from her lover, Hip. High. That's kicking up her longtime fears of commitment. The next minute, in the time it takes for a single phone call to bring bad news, she stands to lose everything. McCone is stunned to learn that a favorite employee, streetwise and savage Julia Raphael, has been charged with credit card fraud. She thinks there must be a mistake until she finds the good charged to the stolen credit card in the firm's mailroom. As she starts to dig into the facts of the case, McCone realizes that someone is out to ruin her business. Let's see. 2004. The Glass Ocean. BEATRIZ Williams. It's the good paper too. Oh, this is new, 2018. 2017 best-selling author Blake is broke and struggling to come up with the idea for her next book. Desperate, she opens an old chest containing the belongings of her great-grandfather who died when the RMS Lusitania was sunk by a German U-boat in 1950. When she discovers what she discovers could change history. Sarah embarks on an ambitious journey to England to enlist the help of John Langford, a recently disgraced member of Parliament, whose family archives might contain the only key to the catastrophe. Southern Belle Caroline Teleflare Hochstetter in 1915's Marriage is in Crisis. Her formerly attentive, industrious husband Gilbert has become remote, preoccupied with business and something else that she can't quite put a finger on. She's hoping a trip on the Lusitania will solve that issue. And Tess Ferryweather is traveling second class on the Lusitania, returning home to Devon, or at least that's her story. Truth is, she's half English, accent is a hasty fake, and her real name is Tennessee Schaaf, the daughter of a roving con man. What did I just say? This is relatively new. That sounds interesting. Ah! Jesus. I think he writes a new book each week. James Patterson and David Ellis escape. As Chicago PD Special Ops Leader, Detective Billy Harney knows well that money is not the only valuable currency. The filthy rich man he's investigating is down to his last $20 million. He's also in jail. For now. Billy's unit is called in when an escape plan results in officers down and inmates vanished. Hey, this is new, 2022. And I'll bet you that itty bitty little thing is why it was discarded. That itty bitty little stain. You know, these people. Oh, excuse me, one more second. Ah, my nose. Debbie Macomber, Rose Harbor in Bloom. Hailed as the reigning queen of women's fiction, Debbie Macomber is renowned for her novels of love, friendship, and promise fresh starts. Now Macomber returns to the charming Rose Harbor Inn, where each guest finds a second chance and every room comes with an inspiring view. Since moving to Cedar Cove, Jo Marie Rose has truly started to feel at home, and her neighbors have become her closest friends. Now it's springtime, and Jo Marie is eager to finish the most recent addition to her inn. In memory of her late husband, Paul, she designed a beautiful rose garden for the property and enlisted handyman Mark Taylor to help realize it. She and Mark don't always see eye to eye, and at times he seems far removed, yet deep down, Jo Marie finds great comfort in his company. Annie Newton arrives in town to orchestrate her grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary celebration. While Annie is excited for the festivities, she is struggling to move on from her broken engagement, and her grandparents themselves seem to be having trouble getting along. Worse, Annie is forced to see Oliver Sutton, with whom she grew up and who always mercilessly teased her. But the best parties end with surprise, and Annie is far in for the biggest one of all. And I think we have some spine issues here. We are a little separate here. How old is this? 2013. We might have done that for Flashback Monday. Margaret Truman, Murder on K Street, a capital crimes novel. Nobody knows crooked turns, slippery slopes, and dark, dangerous trenches of the Beltway better than Margaret Truman, Dean of the Washington, D.C. Mystery Scene. Arriving home from a fundraising dinner, senior Illinois Senator Lyle Simmons discovers his wife brutally bludgeoned to death. And like any savvy politician with the presidential aspirations, his first move is to phone his attorney. 2007. In this case, it's his old friend and college roommate, former DA Philip Rotundi, who gamely agrees to step out quietly and retirement and into the thick of DC political-style criminal and public relations maelstrom. The body is barely cold when the senator's estranged daughter shows up hurling shocking allegations of murder at her father. See what happens there. Large paperback. Loving Liza Jane, Shirley MacLaren. When Liza Jane Merriweather rode into the town of Little Hickman Creek, her first thought was, "Oh Lord, what have I done?" Kentucky was much different than what she was used to back east, but she knew God had led her here for a reason. Will she discover his plan for her life? Let's see. 2007. Oh, Christmas again. And falling apart Christmas too. The Somerville sisters believe in love, but they've lost faith in faith it will happen for them. Reggie hasn't been home since the end of the world's shortest engagement. When her parents decide to renew their vows, she buffs up her twinkle to help with the Christmas wedding. Unexpectedly, Toby, her first love, is back too, and the spark between them shines as brightly as ever. In the spirit of the season, will they let go of their past hurts and greet the new year together? The Christmas wedding guest. What year is this? 2021. Jeez! Not that old. I guess they didn't make this too good, huh? Ah! I will not read this gentleman's books. He writes really, really good books. But I will not read his books. My mother died, and she was halfway through Angel's Flight. And she will never know how it ended. I met some lady the other day that said that one of her relatives took the book to the funeral and read the rest of the book at the funeral to the deceased in the coffin. Another lady said her relative put the library book in the coffin and buried him with it and paid the library for the book. That was a little much. She could have gone to the bookstore and bought it. Depending on how old it was, though. But I just thought that was a little much. But that's another reason why if I've picked up a big book, I'm going to read it, as much as possible in one sitting. Because if I'm going out the next day, the what if, even though it's probably relatively small, it's I don't know, it's just a little quirk of mine. So Michael Connelly, The Dark Hours. 2021. Good Lord. Who is doing this? I like the page came right out. There's chaos in Hollywood at the end of the New Year's Eve countdown. Working her graveyard shift, LAPD detective Renee Ballard waits out the traditional rain of leads as hundreds of revelers shoot their guns into the air. Only minutes after midnight, Ballard is called to the scene where a hard-working auto shop Makona has been fatally hit by a bullet in the middle of the crowded street party. Ballard quickly concludes that the deadly bullet could not have fallen from the sky and that it was linked to another unsolved murder, a case at one time worked by Detective Harry Bosch. At the same time, Ballard hunts a fiendish pair of serial rapists, the men Midnight, who have been terrorizing women and leaving no trace. Determined to solve both cases, Ballard feels like she is constantly running uphill in a police department inevitably changed by the pandemic and recent social unrest. It is a department so hampered by inertia and low morale that Ballard must go outside to the one detective she can count on, Harry Bosch. Oh, good God. I have not seen this name. I would at least 15 years, maybe? How old is this book? I gotta look at this date to see if I'm nuts. 1994! I have not seen this guy in a long, long time. At least 10 to 15 years. At least. Sidney Sheldon, Nothing Lasts Forever. Here is, let's see, Dr. Paige Taylor. She swore was an enthusiasm, but when Paige inherited $1 million from a patient, the DA called it murder. Dr. Kate Hunter vowed never to let a man get too close until she accepted the challenge of a deadly bet. Dr. Honey Taft, to make it medicine, she knew she needed something more than the brains God gave her. Okay. I have no idea. Sharon McCrubb, The Rosewood Casket. Let's see. Randall Stargill lies dying on his southern Appalachian farm, and his 4 sons have come home to build him a coffin from the cache of rosewood he has long hoarded for the special purpose. Meanwhile, like a vulture hovering over prey, a local real estate developer is readying an offer on the farm that will be extremely hard for the heirs to refuse as soon as the old man is gone. And at the same time, mountain wise woman Nora Boone Steele, Randall's sweetheart of long ago, must bring to light a small box to be buried with Randall, a box containing human bones. What's the date? 1996. Ancient Light, John Banville. Is there any difference between memory and invention? This is the question that fuels the stunning novel written with the depth of character, the clarifying lyricism, and the sly humor that have marked all of John Banville's extraordinary works. And it is the question that haunts Alexander Cleve, an actor in the twilight of his career and of his life, as he plumbs the memories of his first and perhaps only love, 15 years old, the woman more than twice his age, the mother of his best friend, the situation impossible, thrilling, devouring, and finally devastating. Oh, this has got the good paper. 2012. It's got the good paper. Oh, shoot, this box is almost full. And I've got a few more here to do. I should have really broken this down into 2, but let's just go through the rest of these quickly. I'm Still Here, Willie AVIT. Elsa is spending her 30th birthday in the hospital in the bed where she lain for 5 months after a terrible mountain climbing accident. Unable to speak, see, hear, or move, she appears to be in an irreversible coma, and her family is facing the devastating reality that it might be time to turn off her life support. They don't realize that in the past few weeks, Elsa has regained partial consciousness. She knows where she is and can hear everyone talking around her, but she has no way of telling them she's alive. Oh, good God. That sounds like a Stephen King novel. The Swinger, Michael Bamberger. I have a feeling this is about golf. His name, we all know, is Herbert X. Tree Tremont, and he's the richest and most celebrated athlete of our time. A multicultural golfing icon with 53 tour wins, 13 major victories, a smoking hot wife, and 2 kids. As it turns out, many agreeable young women, when a reporter uncovers evidence that Tree's sexual appetites are prodigious as his tee shots, his public and private lives collide, producing the juiciest scandals in history. Okay. I don't know. I have not heard of this. Kathleen Armstrong, At Home in Last Chance. Caitlin Reed and Stephen Braden have always had a similar philosophy of life. When the going gets tough, they get going out of town and away from the problem. Now they have both back in Last Chance, New Mexico, trying to start over. Are they starting over together? The Scorpion's Bite, Allie G. Barron. Teeny tiny. In 1943, the world is at war. Archaeologist Lily Sampson has been sent to Transjordan by the OSS, along with Gideon Whale, the famous director of the American School of Archaeology in Jerusalem. As part of their survey, they roam the beautiful silent desert where the inevitable presence of Lawrence of Arabia still lingers, and where the ancient Nabateans once ruled the empire from their capital Petra. Now Lily and Gideon are stranded in the wild rum. Their Bedouin guide is murdered. Could Gideon be guilty of murder? Don't know. Sandra Balzo, Hit and Run. Journalist Annalise Griggs' return to a hometown in North Carolina Western Mountains has led to some unexpected surprises, most notably the discovery that legendary womanizer Dixon's Hart is her birth father and that she is an heir to Hart's huge fortune. Founder of the Whitetail Lodge at High Country Kickoff, the Playboy concept, Hart now claims he wants to do right by his offspring. To that end, he's invited all his former lovers with potential heirs, including Annalise and her own mother, to Thanksgiving dinner. Oh, good God. No, thank you. Jeffrey Ashford, illegal guilt. The disappearance of a young child is of great concern to any community, especially to a close-knit one like Concord, but it is doubly disturbing for Detective Constable Perry, as a 7-year-old Elaine is the daughter of his estranged sister, Elizabeth Oakley. Breaking all police protocol and rules about investigating a case where a close personal relative is involved, Perry continues to pursue his inquiries in the face of opposition from his cantankerous superiors, Yates and Clark. Fair exchange is robbery. When Gavin Penfold, a computer expert, finished work on Friday, he looked forward to enjoying a peaceful evening with his wife at home. But his journey to Atten Cobb was brutally interrupted when men hijacked his car, gagged and blindfolded him, wedged him in a black well, and drove on. The driver believed himself to be a potential Grand Prix ace, a delusion which resulted in his hitting a woman and seriously injuring her, an accident that turned Penfold's life upside down. Pat Barker, Toby's Room. With Toby's Room, a sequel to her widely praised previous novel Life Class, the incompatible Pat Barker confirms her place in the pantheon of Britain's finest novelists. The indelible portrait of a family torn about by war focuses on Toby Brooke, a medical student, and his younger sister Eleanor. Enmeshed in a web of complicated family relationships, Eleanor and Toby are close, some might say too close, but when World War I breaks out, Toby is posted to the front as a medical officer, while Eleanor stays in London to continue her fine studies at Slade under the tutelage of Professor Henry Tonks. There is a starting development based on an actual fact. Eleanor finds that her drafting skills are deployed to aid in literal reconstruction of the maimed in combat. And our final book, I did that one. Our final book, Curse of the Wolf Girl, Martin Muller. Calix is in exile, hiding out in a squalid London flat for the murder of her father, the Thane, but by the day she is morose, unschooled, and slightly anorexic with a penchant for self-mutilation. Oh, good God. No, thank you. Well, that's that. That's the last box. Till next week. I love these boxes. I enjoy the heck out of these boxes. I really do. Don't forget to check out Star Trek Voyager on Fridays and If Then on Mondays. And please hit the like and subscribe. And I hope I thoroughly enjoy these unboxings. So if I never know what's going to be in them, I have no clue. And I hope you enjoy the mystery with me, and I hope you enjoy the unboxing with me. Have a good one.